I'm kind of nervous about
some moisture. Put some moisture on it.
Nervous about these pronunciations.
Josh, why are you blushing?
I'm nervous about Travis. Literally, the first word on the podcast tonight was moist, hot and moist.
Oh, doesn't that make everybody uncomfortable?
That's going to go over well.
Moist. Just think about it. I'm sure this is coming through your speakers with all the bass. Moisture.
All right, guys. It is the Guys MMA podcast. We just lost 3 sponsorships. Thank you, Travel Zombie Face.
3 sponsorships we didn't have, but that's cool.
282. What he's working on? 282 recap. Fight night coming up. The last card of 2022. Happy, excited, sad?
Weird, because usually this card right now would have been what last week was supposed to be. Like usually they blow it out at the end of the year with their biggest card, but
I can't believe they're ending it on just a basic fight night.
And then what is it going to be like January, like the middle 14th. Of January before we got another one out?
Quite literally the day before the middle. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Pretty boring if you ask me.
You know, UFC's been doing some weird stuff, man.
The fight last week.
We going in the rabbit hole or what?
No, not yet. Let's talk about. Let's recap 282.
That doggle hunt, man.
Let's start the recap 282. Raul Rosas by early sub. Preston, if you was gonna hit any of them, you was gonna hit that one. You nailed it on the head. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, of course, Travis was with us too on the early submission. Like I said, I felt like this was kind of a tune-up fight for Rosas Jr., where they were just wanting to get his face out there, get him some media going, make sure he gets an easy win to kind of ease his way in there. He's going to take some losses. He's not going to stay undefeated in the UFC. But he looked impressive. That ground game is phenomenal. I mean, the guy is executing well on the ground, and he showcased that, getting that first round submission. Didn't want to have a late work night, so he got up out of there with child labor laws and all that in the States. Probably good for him.
Man, the Joker was the joke that night, bro. Let me tell you.
Hang on. He's talking about the dude's age and said the child labor laws because he's 18, bro. Stop.
He worked overtime, dude.
He's 17.
I think he's 18.
He's 18 now. Yeah.
Did he turn 18 already?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He turned 18.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the Joker became the joke that night. Plain and simple, he was talking about how this kid wasn't going to touch him. He wasn't going to have anything for him. He would have every answer. He's got more experience. The list goes on. The dude is shitting out the words he ate over the weekend. Let's just put it that way. And Rosa squeezed it out of him early. Holy shit. Like I said, the guy can put you in whatever pretzel shape he wants to put you on the ground. And, I mean, he showed his elder just how dominant he could be. And I couldn't be more thrilled to watch it. I thought it was funny as shit, the whole fight. But good call on the early sub.
It's a little indicative. It's a little indicative of the modern generation. These kids, they don't respect their elders at all. So,
right. Well, the old guy was telling him he was going to sub him, and it's like, did he even land a strike on him? I don't really recall him landing anything significant.
I don't think so neither.
Not even really touching his face. So, yeah, kudos to Rosas.
Looking good, kid.
Yeah. Keep being a kid, man.
The next fight, a little controversial. So me and Preston had the giggles arguing over Rozenstruik, right? I understood what Travis was doing. I'm going to get ahead of it for anybody who decides that they don't like his take. So Rozenstruik was fighting. Give me the name again. Line.
Chris Dawkins.
Thank you, Dawkins.
Yeah. Big brother.
So you had Dawkins if to win by tap.
No, by
no.
KO.
By KO.
By nap. Yeah.
Sorry.
I said if he was going to win it, he was going to be knocking him out.
And that's why you put him in your snap, tap, or nap. But you 1,000% had Rozenstruik to win the fight. And
absolutely.
Doing the snap, tap, or nap, it's hard, man, especially with such a short card. We didn't talk about all the fights. So there's an angle to it too. You could play. You could be on one fighter, but also believe that if an occurrence was to occur, that's how it would occur. Nouns and
Absolutely.
pronouns and verbs and adjectives and all that stuff. So victory lap for me and Travis on Rozenstruik, because I definitely did have that pronunciation correct, and forced Travis into his pick. Go for it.
Yeah. What can you say about a guy that has arms the size of a horse's back legs? I mean, he came out furious, quick. Other guy didn't even have a chance to really go after him. I mean, once he hit him with that stiff jab, we're talking about jab. This is a feeler punch. This is just keep him at distance, gauge where you're at. Knock the dude stupid. Like, that's how much power this guy has in the mitts, and it's crazy to see, like, how fast he finished that, like, not even 3 minutes into the fight.
It was not even 30 seconds into the fight.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So, pretty exciting shit. Rozenstruik, man, remember that name. And it's Strike for anybody that's concerned with pronunciation.
Hand up. It is Strike.
Shout out to
unless
the integrity.
Unless the guy wants to come on the show and tell me how to pronounce it properly, that's how I'm going to call it. But keep him on your radar, folks. This dude is a knockout machine.
Definitely, for sure. All right. We'll talk about the fights that everybody wants to talk about. We got the couple
elephant in the room.
Yeah, we got a couple of the smaller fights out of the way. I definitely wanted to talk about Raul Rosas because he's going to be a beast and he's going to be mentioned on this show in the future for sure. He's definitely the future of the UFC. We have hashtag is the UFC rigged. With couple weird decisions in the main going in the Jan fight and in the Paddy the Baddy fight. Let's let Preston open up with it.
Well, we'll start with Jan and Magomed because I think that was the slightly less controversial of the two decisions that happened at the end there. And see, what's crazy is this kind of carries over from Bellator from Friday night too, because there were some decisions there that were definitely very awry, and judging's been an issue for a long time in the UFC. Nobody's come up with a good solution on how to correct it. So I think that's the only reason we're still operating on this antiquated system. But
got an interesting point to add to that here in just a second.
I mean,
sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Did we have the three blind mice out there on Saturday night or something? I mean, am I crazy here? Because I've never like it going back to back just compounds it and makes it worse. But I mean, of course, we're starting with Jan, and what looks weird to me, like the UFC wants to stand on this hill and say, "Oh, it's not rigged. Oh, it's not biased." But how is it that Jan Blachowicz fights Magomed Ankalaev for the title? They come to a draw, and then you're going to have a fight scheduled that night for the next light heavyweight title fight that doesn't involve either one of those fighters. I mean, Jamal Hill's over there posted a picture talking about, I got the call before the fight was over. How is that not rigged? What would my question is, what would you have done if one of them had won that fight by like KO?
Well, hang on. Let's not misquote the social media. He said before they left the cage, not before the fight was decided. So let's not go blowing smoke. Trav, what you got, brother?
All right. So technically, you could say UFC 1 all the way back from its inaugural launch was rigged in the favor of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's come to light. Multiple people have exposed it, and multiple insiders have come out and talked about it since. But nonetheless, this past fight weekend, they had a panel of 24 MMA fighters doing their own judging, separate from the judges. And 23 out of those 24 fighters had Gordon winning that fight. Unanimous. The last guy, I guess he gave it to Paddy Pimblett, which I don't know who the fighters were, who were sitting there watching the fights. But there's always some sort of controversy, and it seems like even more so now from the Hamzat, Nate Diaz, Ferguson, like that whole shit show just kind of shows you where it's come. And I think they're trying to turn MMA into boxing now, which people on the inside are always going to have their, prime picks ahead, insider knowledge, or whatever you want to call it. We're talking about coaches inside locker rooms looking at these guys, before warming up before their fight. Oh, he's got an injury. I'm going to put all my money on this guy. And this shit's been proven. Like,
leaking info.
Yeah. And Canada's made it a law now to where if you're affiliated with any fighter, any kind of organization, you cannot bet anymore.
Is that exclusive to people who are? I thought MMA was taken off the board completely.
It was, but
yeah,
they brought
it
it back in Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think they brought it back.
Right. They're kind of going back and forth about it right now, but they're trying to necessarily get ahead of it in Canada, it seems like, more than we are here in the United States. I mean, every fight's in Vegas.
I think they were.
Come on, guys.
I think they were trying to see what the UFC's response was going to be, and the UFC did.
Sure.
I mean, only mildly cracked down, really. I mean, they removed
a slap on the wrist.
Well, because I don't think the guy that was betting got caught.
Oh no!
Was it James Krause?
Krause.
Krause.
Oh no! You're the one I go for the lines.
I know. So
I got it.
I think Krause. He's not allowed to corner anybody, but he's still technically allowed to train and help fighters.
He was supposed to be in Ponzinibbio's corner,
right?
Specifically, and he wasn't allowed to be there.
That was a running joke. Was everybody asking who does Krause got in this fight?
Yeah, right.
That was funny.
No, but I think overall, the bigger issue for me right now is the judging, because that's something within the UFC's control. It's kind of hard to control what people are or aren't going to gamble on. I mean, ultimately, you have to catch someone post fight or in the act, or something where something has come up and now this attention's being brought onto it, and they can't control that to the nth degree. But the judging is something they should have a say in. And I mean, this isn't just in Vegas, but Vegas is kind of the most egregious. Even Big John McCarthy, he was talking about his son was one of the judges on Saturday night, and he even said that he had it wrong. So I mean, it's just what's going on here, where collectively we're all going to get together and say, hey, we think this guy won. And then honestly, you could have made the argument that he won 30-27 before you could have made the argument that Patty won that fight. But and it's how does that not look rigged? Because they stand to gain everything from having Patty win that fight and continue being the media mogul he is. But I'm here to tell you, when he gets into that top 10, they're not going to have a choice. I don't think he's going to be, just based on his performance Saturday, I don't think he's going to have much of anything for a lot of those guys at the top of that division.
No, and to piggyback off of what Chael Sonnen was talking about on his podcast, he compared that situation to Sean O'Malley, which made a lot of sense if you think about it. And the words he used specifically was Sean O'Malley's algorithm, okay? Put that in perspective for a moment and think about it, where any PR is good PR, right? We're talking about he was on the back end of a controversial decision, and regardless of whether or not you think he lost that fight, you're talking about him and making him relevant, and even more relevant as a draw. So now everybody's, like I said, love him or hate him, you're going to watch that next fight because A, you either want to see him win, or B, you want to see him get knocked the fuck out.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of seems like he's on the Conor McGregor. I know I hate saying that fucking name, but it seems like there's a program in place and he's in it. Right. If you know what I'm saying. They're star pupils. If it's a close fight, so typically comes out in the decision in their favor.
I feel like this is definitely really deep into my world. So as far as Krause goes, that's going to happen inevitably across the board, any sport. I even likened it to horse races and horse training.
You can't bet your own horse.
People say that it's going to tarnish the UFC and whatnot. Churchill Downs their doors are still wide open. Okay, it's not, and it's not exclusive to Churchill, to horses, or to the UFC, NBA, NFL.
Pete Rose.
You'll see, right. Well, Pete Rose is betting on himself, though. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't betting that his team was going to lose or saying that anybody was hurt or anything. Allegedly, he was specifically betting on himself and nobody else's.
It's Pete Rose podcast, people.
Right.
Except for other reasons.
So my issue definitely is with the judging. But that's always going to be sketchy, just like we were talking about with boxing. I don't even really have that much of a problem with, because we lost the Leach fight, which was obviously a robbery, right? Line.
That was
Lee
bad.
Leach. Thank you. We lost that fight. I don't even have a problem with it from the business model perspective of, if you think that the fight was even, give it to the person with the bigger limelight, with the higher trajectory. I don't have a problem with that at all. If I'm running a business, I would do the same thing. It's getting a little bit WWE, like, especially like we were talking about before,
real
with the
bad
storylines and stuff. It does suck for the underdogs. It makes it apparent you got to have a bigger personality coming out now. Again, what Cross is in trouble for and what he's doing, man, giving out tips, you're going to see that everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, there was episodes from the mid-90s of Seinfeld saying, I got a tip from one of the trainers, his mother was a mother. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to happen. But as far as like just poor judging in general, man, that sucks. And it sucks for the sport. They need to get better.
Yeah.
They need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I think there's a whole seedy underbelly that we haven't uncovered yet, or hasn't been exposed, and kind of look forward to seeing it play out. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I've been watching UFC from day one, man, and it just kind of baffles me that we're in 2022 and, corruption has taken over one of my favorite sports now. I just feel like it's kind of lame, but
yeah,
it is what it is, and we'll just have to keep our eyes open.
Especially because you're charging $75 for a pay-per-view. It's like,
right, dude. Right.
Come on. Like, we're here to watch the competition. Let the best man win. And quit leaving it up to the judges.
Yeah.
Travis brought it up, so we're going to dive into it. Days of our Connor.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fucking
McGregor.
If there's going to be a fight, then that will be the fight, correct?
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
Unless with Connor anything could happen, but they're planning on that being the fight.
Dude, with all the juice that he's been on, it only makes sense that he fights Michael Chandler. I mean, holy shit. Chandler, if I'm not mistaken, the whole reason, allegedly, the reason he came from Bellator was hunting McGregor. Like, said he wanted a challenge, and that's whenever McGregor was in his spotlight, his prime, and I don't know if that's 100% or not, but nonetheless, this fight makes sense. He doesn't disappoint anytime he fights, and neither does the little fucking Irish guy. What you got?
I do got a point on that, because you're saying it makes sense, but actually, Conor McGregor just got removed from the lightweight rankings today. So, in a lot of ways, this fight makes zero sense. Only from a marketability standpoint, which at this point, I don't even know why we have rankings, because it does not matter. It doesn't do anything besides put you on a list at this point, because they don't make fights based on rankings anyways. But I don't know, in a lot of ways, man, like this fight doesn't make sense, but it does make sense because Connor's needs to get his shit together if he's really going to start stepping up to the top 5 of that division. And Chandler seems to be kind of one of those guys that's going to be gatekeeping the top 5, where he's not quite good enough to win the belt, but he's good enough to.
Dog's gone wild.
But he's good enough to maintain a little bit of competition up there.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, Golden Boy's getting whatever he wants, and obviously Michael Chandler's a very significant draw. Nonetheless, like I said, the guy is fantastic to watch because you never know what you're going to get with him, whether he's spitting blood loogies into your face or he's like knocking you the fuck out.
Fish hook in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah. After
right,
scratching his butt.
Let's dive into this fight night coming up, guys. Last card of the year. Travis. Now, I could have taken the easy way out and just said Saeed, but Travis, we got Nurmagomedov.
Nurmagomedov
versus Kakhramonov.
Kakhramonov.
Let's go.
We'll call it good enough.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Go
It's
ahead.
funny that they both have Saeed as a first name. One just has a couple of extra Russian letters behind it. I think we're going to have ourselves another good old-fashioned wrestling bear hug match. I think it's going to be, I don't know. It might be good, might be not. But personally,
Travis
I'm not
with
really.
the hot takes tonight.
Yeah. I think Nurmagomedov takes it. I think he's got the better wrestling, and I think he showcases it. And if he pulls it out on the feet, that'll be a pleasant surprise.
So that's a last name you should know because the greatest fighter in UFC history also has that last name, Khabib Nurmagomedov, as well as Saeed. I believe they're cousins. They may not even be related. I don't know. There's a lot of Nurmagomedov.
Aren't they all cousins over there?
I don't. Whoa. Listen, this is a Kentucky-based podcast. Let's not get into inter-family relations.
Hey, man.
This will be the first one.
You point one finger, you got like 7 pointing back if you're from Kentucky.
Right. But anyways, so I've got Saeed Nurmagomedov as well over. I'm gonna actually try this. Saeed Yokum. Let me know if that's wrong in the comments. Let me know if I'm right in the comments. Kakhramonov. I believe Saeed wins. Just he's got a lot more experience than Kakhramonov. Looked like Kakhramonov had quite a bit of fights over in Russia. Saeed's been fighting in America for a little bit longer, so he's probably been fighting just a little bit of higher level competition. I think that experience is what's going to carry him through this fight. But like Travis said, it's probably going to be a sambo fest out there.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling going on. And if that Nurmagomedov last name is anything holds any weight, then that would likely point to him being the better wrestler.
Agreed, sir.
Next up, Travis, lead us off. We have the battle of the Mathews.
Jake Mathews versus Hold on. Now Semelsberger?
You could just say
kidding.
You could just say
Semelsberger. I'm just saying his last name. Semelsberger. Mathews versus Semelsberger. There we go.
You
3
can't
times
take
and
my
we're good.
pronunciation bit, bro. That's all I got.
Hey, even the best fall. Okay. So Jake Mathews is a powerhouse, and I look for him to come in and deliver a wicked knockout. I'll cover that in my snap, tap, or nap later.
Okay.
But I look for Jake Mathews to be dominant in this fight. I think he really takes it to him. Semelsberger's coming off of a loss, if I recall that correctly. Jake Mathews went out and did work on his last fight, knocked out Andre Fiallo, the guy I called, and it broke my fucking heart. So, in order to remedy that mistake, we're going to go with Jake Mathews. The Tasmanian Devil's going to come out, and we're going to see what he's going to fucking lay out for him.
Preston, I could see your face. You were live fact-checking as we were talking. Go.
No, it's funny that he actually brought up that Semelsberger is coming off a loss because do you know who he lost to last?
Who's that?
Alex Morono.
That's why. That's why. I was trying to give you the alley-oop. I was waiting for it. But nonetheless, the Morono has reappeared. A wild Morono.
I put the clip.
is
I
in
put
the
the clip
chat.
on Twitter, bro. Y'all can go argue with Joe Rogan. It's Marino.
Anyways,
He said it twice.
are you finished, Travis?
Yeah, I'm good. Go.
So Jake Mathews is a guy that's been in the UFC for a long time. He's a UFC veteran of 8 years. So he's been fighting high-level competition for a long time here. He's got 7 wins by submission and does have a recent win over a KO win over Andre Fiallo. So Mathews is one of those guys that is a ground specialist at heart, but has the ability to use that to gain the advantage in the striking as well. So a lot of times you'll see kind of the Khabib effect, where a guy is so good on the ground that his opponent may even have a striking advantage over him, but he has to be so worried about the takedown that he doesn't get to exercise that striking advantage like he normally would, which I think is really going to play into Jake's wheelhouse here. I've got Jake probably winning by submission. I think that Matthew Semelsberger is good enough striking that Jake's probably going to want to keep this in the place where he has the advantage at, which is obviously on the ground. Because, I mean, Matthew's got 6 wins by KO, so he's obviously a KO threat as well on the feet. So if Jake's
Absolutely.
I think he'll probably come out, get some takedowns, get the control time, hopefully get a submission win, and get out of there and take the victory home.
Yeah, I could see him pulling a sub, but I like him for the knockout. I think he's good for
No
it.
spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers.
I'll keep it.
Preston, Cody Brundage versus Michael Olesiejcuk.
Olesiejcuk. Hey, that was good. That was
Whoa.
I'm undefeated tonight.
Whoa. Is this real life?
Right. So we got Michael Olesiejcuk versus Cody Brundage. Michael's a big guy. I mean, he's got 12 wins by knockout. He's coming off over Smiling Sam Alvey. Has had a fight overturned to PEDs, and he's kind of weak against grapplers. So Cody Brundage is kind of an up-and-coming guy. I'll be honest, not a guy that I know too much about. He's got 2 wins by KO. This is going to be kind of a big step up in competition for him. So what I'm interested to see in this fight is to see if Cody's grappling is good enough to kind of subdue Olesiejcuk. If not, if it looks like Cody doesn't have the grappling to keep up and keep Olesiejcuk, honest on his feet, then I think Olesiejcuk probably takes this one home.
That is an interesting take. I honestly kind of think this could go either way. I think shoot, I just had a brain fart. What's the young kid's name? Brundage. Cody. I could see him shooting from the hip, throwing some wild shit and catching him, possibly with a knockout. But at the same time, like you said, I kind of look for him to nullify any kind of striking with his wrestling. Up and comer, so he wants to probably protect his. Yeah, exactly. I think he comes out pretty hungry, but I don't know. Maybe the older guy gets it because of experience.
Guys, we have been on nothing but chalk tonight. Give me something exciting in this next fight, please, Preston.
Oof.
Alex Caceres.
That wasn't even close.
Caceres. That's what I said. Versus Julian Erosa. Give me something exciting, guys. We're on all chalk.
Yikes. You picked the wrong fight to be asking for that on. What I will say is Alex Caceres has my favorite nickname in all of MMA.
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy. Yep. He's a submission heavy fighter, and this is another guy that's also been in the UFC for like 11 years now. I think he started in 2011. He doesn't have.
He's been in for a minute.
He doesn't have quite as many fights as you think a guy that's been fighting that long would have. So he doesn't fight quite a lot, but he's kind of a streaky fighter. But here lately, he's been grabbing some wins. He did lose to Sadiq Youssef, but before that, he had 5 wins in a row. Erosa is a guy who is a Contender Series alum from 2018. He didn't start out very hot in the UFC. He lost 3 in a row once he got the contract. Did get cut, and now he's back on the roster. But since he's been back, he's 5-1. So he's a bit of a streaky fighter there. I think in this fight, you're going to see that Erosa probably does have just a little bit of ground game to combat Caceres. Neither one of these guys are super young. I think Erosa's 33, just had kind of a late start to his upper-level MMA career. I think Erosa probably takes this one. Just based on how he's been fighting here recently, I don't think Caceres is as good as Sadiq Yusuf. I think Erosa's proven that he's a guy that can compete at a higher level. And I think he kind of uses Caceres as a way to step his way up in competition. So I think he'll win this one by decision. I think he's going to have to put more damage on Caceres to win this fight. So I think it'll be a situation where Caceres might have the control time, but I think most of the damage is going to be coming from Julian. And I think you're going to see him take this one home.
I think if we get into a grappling match with these two, it's going to be kind of a stalemate. Maybe one outdoes the other on the ground. I think Erosa takes the win, unless Caceres can come up with a sneaky submission. However he can get it. He's agile, he's quick, but he's just not that impressive to me. He's got a great nickname. Like you said, Bruce Leroy, shout out to one of the greatest movies ever. Shown up. But I like Erosa in this one, and I think he's just got a little bit more experience being the older fighter that he's going to show the youngster what's up. I think Erosa takes it.
Shocker. These guys like the favorites.
Well,
Travis, give me something exciting right here. You ready? Brace yourself. Tsarukyan versus Ismagulov.
That's fire. You're killing
all right. Ismagulov, man. My guy, you did it. You did your homework. Tsarukyan.
Somebody on this podcast had to, guys, because y'all just ain't giving me nothing tonight.
All right. So I got a bit of unfortunate news. Our boy Tsarukyan, Armin, he beat our one and only inaugural guy. He showed out Matt Frivola. Shout out, homie. We still love you regardless. That was a tough fight you had to fight against this dude. This guy has some killer fucking grappling. If I'm being honest, the elbow he landed, I can't remember the youngster's name. He fought him recently, but he bashed this kid's face and, I mean, split him open. It was like a water balloon filled with blood. He has the striking ability on his feet. He's been becoming more comfortable as a stand-up fighter. I like him in this fight. Damir is typically a smart fighter. He's a decision fighter on the cards. I mean, if we're being honest, I think he fights smart and tries to win. Obviously, they're both trying to win, but I think Tsarukyan takes it to him and either taps him out or knocks him out with his new stand-up skills.
I just got a hot tip is Alvarez is who you were speaking of.
Alvarez.
Hot tip. Live fact checks.
So the only thing that holds me back against Damir is he's not really fought anybody huge in the UFC yet. I mean, he has fought Thiago Moises and did beat him. Before that,
I got you now.
Before that, he had quite a number of fights in Russia, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of times you'll hear comments that the level of competition on the Russian professional circuit or even the Russian amateur circuit just isn't quite to the level of competition that you'll see in like the UFC or some of the local circuits in America or, even other like Western Europe and stuff. So I think the only thing that's holding me back on picking Damir is we haven't really seen the guy fight the level of competition that he's getting ready to fight Saturday night against Armin Tsarukyan, because Tsarukyan, that is a guy that is high level competition. I mean, we're talking about a guy who I think Tsarukyan, the thing about him is he's a Russian that has just a bit of a striking advantage over a lot of his other counterparts, where you'll see a lot of his counterparts be Sambo experts or anything like that. I think Tsarukyan's done a good job of not just like keeping himself in that wrestling category that you'll see a lot of Russian fighters come from.
He's not one-dimensional as of late.
Right. Definitely not. So I think that's what's making me lean more towards Tsarukyan. I think he has more possibilities of winning this fight. I think he could win it on the feet. I think he could win it on the ground. I think he could win the control time and the grappling. Just based on experience, level of competition alone, I'm not saying Demir can't win. I'm just saying I don't think we've seen enough of Demir at a high level to say that he's ready to take that step up yet. So I've got Tsarukyan right now, but if Demir wins, I'm open to just being like, hey, the guy's new to this high level game. He could, if he wins this fight, he'll be a guy that we'll keep an eye on. Oh,
Look, neither one of these
up?
guys will tell me anything exciting, any hot takes, any underdogs. Tell me something about this card where I'm gonna make some money, man, because these guys are killing me right now. They've taken every chalk on the card.
Well, no, just to jump on what Preston was saying as well. Tsarukyan, he's a dog, and I can just see him just winning the decision against Ismagulov. Even though Ismagulov is a talented individual himself, he has beaten the likes of Choga Moises as well. But yeah, I just think Tsarukyan's got more tools of ways to winning in my eyes.
Thanks for nothing. All right, guys. So we brought on Ash from Against the Fence, one of our first.
What up?
One of our first contacts, man. We've had it's been helping us along the way. Got in the YouTube channel and supporting us, looking out for us, showing love. So obviously we had Olin on last week. He introduced himself and the podcast. He did it. I like how he did it, but we're gonna go a different route this time. If that's cool with you, Ash.
No, you're the host, bro. You take it away.
Okay. So we're gonna ask a couple questions and to introduce you to our tens and tens of subscribers. First off, is it called soccer?
No.
Okay.
Football.
Got the first question wrong. Did it come home?
No, unfortunately, it didn't come home. No.
Oh, okay. Well, you got the second question right. Good job. That's all I had. You scored 50%. Do what?
Who do you got in the World Cup, Ash?
I got France winning. Winning.
Okay. That's who I got winning too.
Yeah, they've not looked good, but they're still somehow winning.
Guys, the whole soccer thing was a bit like we're really not going to talk about soccer.
We came on at the perfect time. I think we're about to lead into Cannonier and Strickland.
Yeah. But hey, also my last one. Do y'all have religion where you're from? Because we could call this Ash Wednesday if it's not offensive.
No, we don't. No, you're all good.
Okay, Ash Wednesday, cool. Ash Wednesday.
Do they have religion?
Hey, introduce yourself in the show, man, real quick, and we'll hop into the
thanks for having me on, guys. My name's Ash, and I'm from Against the Fence YouTube channel. We do weekly watch-alongs. We sometimes get fighters on to join the watch-alongs as well, which we may have a few this weekend. Obviously, we're getting to that a little bit later, but yeah, we mainly do watch-alongs, just try and get UK fans just more into the sport, if you know what I mean. Because over here in the UK, for me, it's nearly 1 a.m. And obviously, we grind it out over in the UK, as you know. For us, the events, it's tough. So we just try and, me and JK, we kind of started it, just me and him, and then obviously brought Sai into the mix. But when you're staying up by yourself, it's hard. So that's why we're trying to create a community together to try and, obviously, when you all watch your fights, never watch your fights alone.
So, correct me. JK is who Preston talked to after the main a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Preston was like, "Man, it's 1 a.m., bro. I'm tired." And he was like, "Oh man, it's like 7 a.m. there. I'm really tired."
I was like,
for pay-per-view for us, it's really hard because obviously 3 a.m. start, probably finish about 6:30 because we do pay-per-views. We try and get a fan cam, and then obviously that's when it gets to like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's gotta be tough.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to y'all's dedication, man. You guys got
absolutely
awesome content, bro. Love you guys. And we definitely have to do a home and home on the podcast. We'll do some kind of show coming up.
We get something going.
Let's hop into the Strickland and the Cannonier. And then we will dive into the snap tapper nap and get you to bed.
Yeah.
Preston, lead us off. Strickland.
Alrighty, so Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. Obviously, it's our main event fight. With Sean making his rounds in the media here recently, this is probably going to be a highly anticipated one. The guy's been talking a lot of smack. I mean, I love Sean Strickland. He's a genius with the mic. Jared Cannonier's coming off that one loss to Izzy. So we got two high level guys here. really going at it at the top of the division. So I think the difference here for me is that I think Cannonier is just going to use his size to his advantage. I think Cannonier is just a bit of a beefier, bulkier guy than Sean Strickland. Strickland's kind of that lankier, kind of scrappy guy there. Fun fact for anybody that didn't know, Cannonier has fought at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight as well. So the guys went through a lot of different weight classes. So he's a professional on the scale. He's going to make weight. And I mean, I'm excited to see what Sean does in this fight. Because he is coming off that loss to Pereira, but before that, his return to middleweight has been electric. The guy's been running through a lot of the competition. So to see what he's got against Cannonier is going to be exciting. I do have Cannonier in this fight just because I feel like like I said, he's going to use that size advantage, especially in the grappling interactions. I feel like Sean's going to want to go out there and put on a show for everyone, try to keep it as more of a striking matchup as much as he can. And I think Cannonier is probably going to play into that a little bit, but if this goes past round 3, I think you're going to see it be a sort of a grappling fest there in rounds 4 and 5. And I think Cannonier has what it takes to come away with a decision win if it does make it there.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Trav.
Yeah, Cannonier obviously has dynamite in both mitts. One touch is all it takes to shut your lights off for you. But both of these guys, I think they're both great fighters. What I like about Strickland is the pace that he sets for the people that he fights. And I think that poses a problem for Jared Cannonier because, honestly, his stamina has been kind of one of his weakest flaws, if we're being realistic. If we're looking at it on paper, like I said, the guy's got dynamite in both mitts. Obviously, you want to think KO win, but the pace that Sean Strickland puts on you as soon as he gets in the cage and the bell goes, like, it's nonstop race. And he doesn't care. He loves the dirtier the fight, the better. And I think this is his world. And I think both of them going back and forth is going to be very fun to watch. But I'm going to have to go with Strickland on this one. I think his pace outdoes Jared Cannonier. Now, granted, Cannonier touches him early with a full gas tank. Obviously, the lights could go out for Sean Strickland after what we saw with Alex Pereira. And I don't know. I think this one's a tricky situation, but I'm going to be on Strickland's side on this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was itching to say something then. And what I'm going to say for Cannonier, which I think is into his favour, is his leg kicks. He has dangerous leg kicks. Obviously, he stopped Anderson Silva with leg kicks, and there's no sort of movement with Strickland. He just he's like standing there, just upright, if you get what I mean. So I think if Cannonier can offload a couple of leg kicks, it could even be a TKO leg kicks. But yeah, I think if Cannonier can get them leg kicks off early, it could be a TKO finish for Cannonier. But like you said, the pace that Strickland could put on could be a problem for Cannonier. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, I just see him getting into his face and not giving him a chance to breathe.
Yeah, 100%. He did the same to Uriah Hall.
Absolutely. And he tried to do the same with Pereira, but
it
just wasn't going to. Yeah, one small opening, it's lights out. But like you said, with the leg kicks, if he can get out of range and stay close, I think that kind of nullifies what Jared Cannonier has for him on the legs.
I'm still here.
But oh, I got you. But yeah, like you said, that could pose a very big problem for Sean Strickland.
Definitely. Just getting the camera back on.
I got you. It's like you look better, man. The lighting changed.
Yeah, no, it's good, isn't it?
All right.
Have mercy.
While guys across the pond is figuring it out, we're gonna hop into the snap, tap, or nap while you can still hear him. Who you want to go first in the snap, tap, or nap? Ash, we let the guests decide. Preston or Travis?
And we lost him. Damn.
All right.
Travis,
So, as a representative of soccer, what'd you say?
I said let Travis take it off. I think I started last week.
Travis, rock it out.
All right. So My snap, I think. I'm going to come back to snap. I'm going to think about it just a little bit.
You want me to go first, Travis?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, you go ahead because I'm still working something out in my head.
All right. So for my snap, and usually in the context of what we're using snap as, usually it's kind of which fight you think is going to be most exciting, which one's going to be really bringing it that night, not necessarily picking a winner. But I've got Arman Tsarukyan versus Demir. I think that's probably going to be one of the better fights of the night. I think that they're probably the most evenly matched coming into the night, at least on paper. So I think the Russians are really going to be bringing that heat. The tap, got Jake Mathews tapping out Mathews Semelsberger. We kind of touched base on that where we know Jake's got power in the hands. We know he's going to be bringing it. But I think if he's smart, he's going to play the advantage that he has on the ground over Semelsberger, who doesn't have much of a ground game going for him, at least as of right now. And for my nap, I've got Cody Brundage KOing Olesiejcuk.
Okay.
See, my issue was trying to decide between snap and tap for Tsarukyan. So I guess snap, we could go with the Russians. We'll go with the Saeeds. I think that's going to be an interesting Sambo fight.
It's probably the worst
one of the wrestling matches that we'll be happy to see because it's going to be so back and forth. But yeah, I think that's going to be our snap. Tap, I'm going Tsarukyan. I think he does get the tap. And for my nap, I've got Sean Strickland giving it to Jared Cannonier if he gets gassed.
Ash, just for context, bro, we have never said on this podcast that we go with the Russians, and we do not support any of that movement. So just we don't need any extra beefs.
Hey man, make love, not war, dude.
Yeah, so let's never say we go with the Russians on this show.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. You know who I'm talking to.
That's class.
Ash.
Yes.
Snap, tap, or nap, sir.
So I'm going to go for so is snap fight of the night. You go for?
We lost him again.
No, so I'm back. Sorry, is snap fight of the night?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Does it have to be on a main card or just
whatever fight you think would be the best fight to watch?
Yeah. I'm gonna go Drew Dober, Bobby Green.
That's a good one.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good call.
Okay.
Yeah, my screen may freeze because I'm just going to my notes.
Okay. So it's interesting to me that he's come on, knows that we don't have any subscribers, and he's intentionally trying to tank this show. I feel like this might be an inside job. England might be trying to start another war. Travis adding on the components of we support Russia.
This dude.
Go ahead, Ash.
I'm gonna go for tap Julian Marquez versus Durham Win. I think Marquez gets the guillotine. The amount of times he goes for that guillotine or dash choke, repetitious amount of times in his previous outings, and obviously he got the one done previously out against Sam Alvey as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go for nap. I'm going to go for Jared Cannonier knocks out Sean Strickland.
Ooh, the tiebreaker.
Ooh.
Yeah,
he's a tiebreaker.
I like it.
Yeah, man. Hot.
That's
takes.
Great.
Hey, Ash, we appreciate you so much, man, for coming on.
Now, apologies for my camera going off. I had to jump in on my phone. I thought, you know what, I'll try and look a bit professional and go on my laptop, and then it froze.
Yeah,
hey,
it is what it is, man.
We definitely appreciate it, man. Even the Wi-Fi has to go to bed at some point.
That's
man.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have plenty of bloopers.
Yeah. Travis does.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of them as well. We got plenty of them as well. But yeah, we definitely have to sort something out where we can all jump on, and we definitely have a subject to talk about, and definitely roll with it or something.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
Sure. We could talk about soccer if you want to.
Soccer.
Yeah. I would be so lost.
Little footy on the pitch.
We could talk about cricket, and I would still know just as much.
I'm crushing.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, our tens and tens of subscribers, go check out Against the Fence. Their production
Yes.
is normally better than ours, except for tonight, where Ash is intentionally
Yeah,
trying to sabotage.
this is what I mean. I don't deal with all that. Jordan and Si deal with all that. That's
And, yeah, we need a producer on this show too. We do stand with Ukraine for the record. It did not come home. Just
It did not.
for reference. We appreciate everybody listening, watching, subscribing, liking. Ash,
keep doing what you're doing, guys.
You're a hero for coming on, man. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Ash.
Keep
We
doing what you're
appreciate
doing,
you
boys.
coming on.
And it will come home.
It's not coming home. We're ending the recording. It is not coming home.